I'm Paul,
I'm Devin.
and together we're Dads and Dice, two brand new dads who like to play some games.
We just got done playing DRAFTOSAURUS, and this is our kind of afterthoughts. We didn't really talk much about the game during it, so this will be fun to just see what we each think.
This was kind of my idea to play this game. I've played it a couple times, Board Game Arena here. I thought it was a real good, easy game, kind of mindless drafting. I know you and I both kind of like that drafting mechanic, games like Seven Wonders and stuff like that. And I thought this was kind of just a cool way to do that mechanic a little bit differently. Instead of the cards, you actually have the little dinosaurs. You know me, I like all the components, I like the themes, I like that kind of stuff. So this game just kind of really drew to me visually. We just went through six playthroughs of this. It's pretty much just this does that. Yeah, I think it's a good, easy, mindless kind of fun game.
Yeah, I really like the simplicity of it in that not only is it there are only six spaces to go to, right, or seven if you count the water, but six spaces to go to. Half the time it's only half of those. Like
Mm-hmm.
you half the time are wide open and can place anywhere, and then half the time you really only have three options, right? So
Yeah.
you just kind of pick the best one in that scenario. I mean, it plays really quick. You just said we played six games. We did that in about 30 minutes. What that averages 5 minutes a game. I mean, it's
Yeah.
easy to knock out like this, you know. Now, one thing I would say is I would be very interested to play this game with multiple people. This two-player mechanic is neat, and we didn't really necessarily play, or I'll say I didn't necessarily play Super Cutthroat. Not that that's what I was trying to not do, but I was kind of just focused and not really paying a whole lot of attention to your board on top of mine. But I would like to see when you play with multiple people and you just draft through and don't discard dinosaurs, how that really plays out.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned, half the time you can only place them in certain places, but then the other half time you kind of have the whole board open. Yeah, that's just because we're playing two player. Played it a couple times with three, and I've played once or twice with four players. And actually, at that player count, I think the game does a much better job at doing what it's supposed to be doing. Drafting games are hard at two players.
Right.
It's not ideal. I do think it is. It's a fun little game either way, but it does play better at a higher player count.
I can see that now. With that said, I mean, this does a very good job for two-player drafting, right? You take a game like Seven Wonders, who even the two-player variant is not all that great. The two-player variant was pretty good. It was a very solid implementation of it. We played those six games, right? And I think it was you won. I actually think it was like you won the first two, I won the second two, you won the last two, or something of that nature. I wasn't totally paying exact attention. But you won four of them, I won two. You obviously know the better strategy to me, so I won't like pretend to be like, oh, this is the way you win because I wasn't doing it right. But I'm not sure where I really went wrong either. I think I may have lost a lot of points in having the most or having the least dinosaurs, right? Like I
Mm.
didn't take advantage of that well, and they seem like pretty easy points for just sticking one in those. I
Yeah.
also found myself, I don't know if you did, leaving a lot of dinosaurs hanging. Like there was a time where I would only have one in the group of three, or I never got the pair.
Mhm.
I wasn't very good at paying attention to that.
I found on that least one, Solitary Island, uh, that if I placed the meeple, I tried to place that one near the end of the game, right? Because it was the one that I didn't have somewhere else on the board. If you place that one early on, it's going to be a lot harder to just keep that one as your solitary one because sometimes you just draft that color. I noticed a couple times with the one on the most, the king of whatever it's called there. Um, but on that one, I would place a dinosaur and then I'd look at your board and I'd realize that you had placed the same one and you'd already had like two or three of them.
Right.
The game that you won with the most points, and it was our biggest differential between any of them, it was when you filled up the meadow of differences. you had all 21 points on that one. And so I noticed that, and I tried to do that on a different game, and that's a lot harder than it seems to do.
Yeah, it really is. I actually honestly, I just because I was rambling on, I kept doing exactly the same strategy over and over. I didn't really ever change anything up, and my strategy was always like, oh, I'm just gonna keep playing dinosaurs in the difference one, right? Also, funny thing, I did not realize that Solitary Island was only one of that type of dinosaur. I played that wrong the whole time. I thought it worked like the King of the Jungle, except opposite. I thought it was just having the least of that type of dinosaur. So there were times where I put one that like I clearly had two of, or I drafted the same one later, thinking, oh well, I have less than Paul does, right?
That makes
So
sense.
yeah, I definitely wasted a lot right there.
We got a whole nother Res Arcana rules
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That
implementation that's wrong.
exactly. I need to be better at brushing up on my roles. But regardless, it was still fun, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't mind.
So, what do you think about this game? I mean, do you think it's got some replayability? Do you think what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think this if this came out on one of our game nights, this would be the starter game. This is the appetizer, right?
Hmm.
It's not of course never going to be the pinnacle game. I think I would put this in the line of like a Machi Koro,
Okay.
where you play it once, twice, three times, right, real quick, and then you put it up and get to the bigger games that you wanted to
Hmm.
play. This was just all right, we'll do this to kind of get in gaming mode, get the talking out of us, and that. And I think I think that's a good spot for it. Like there's nothing wrong with those games.
And I mean, honestly, that's kind of why we picked this game today, right? Was because you were gonna tell us the whole story,
Yeah,
and we needed something that we could talk and play. But yeah, no, I agree. I've only ever played this board. I know the other side is a different board, so it's got a different layout. So I think that that adds just a little bit more replayability in there.
right.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, it's a quick, easy game. Get one or two rounds out, and then start on the real games.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing wrong with that at all. That's all we've got, guys. This was Draftosaurus. Appreciate you guys watching this. Appreciate everything you do. Love those likes, those comments, those subscriptions. All of that helps us. We really do appreciate that, guys. Anyway, that's all we've got. Thanks.
And then one more time before we leave, congrats, Devin. You're gonna be an awesome dad.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that, Paul. All right, guys.